It's the Mike O'Hearn Show right here on Generation Iron. We have across from me my co-host, actually the real leader of this Titan crew, Mona Muresan, here with us, a.k.a. Baby Mama.
That's right.
The badass, the Romanian gangster with us. And we have a really cool guest today.
That's the only reason why I'm sitting here right now. Today.
Why is that?
Because Lauralie Chapados, it's going to be on the interview.
Lauralie,
Yes.
5th place in Miss Olympia last year. The year before that, 2nd place, going back to redeem and kick ass. Also Pittsburgh Pro 1st place, New York Pro 1st place, Arnold Classic, which is, I think, a great show to be the winning of. I mean, for me,
these are all great shows.
They're all great shows. They're all great
yeah.
shows. They're all hard shows. But she's going back for the Olympia. We're a couple weeks out now, and we definitely wanted to talk to somebody. And then from somebody that I got to meet her years ago, and I just character-wise, this is somebody that, again, I usually only bring on the majority of people that I know with great characters. And she's one of those.
She is. She's absolutely beautiful, not on the outside, but the inside. And
besides the outside.
Yeah. Come on. We look at Lauralie. Come on. She's amazing. Amazing. I love her. I love her workouts. I can't wait to sit down with her
let's get into this then.
And talk about her prep for the Olympia.
All right. This is the Mike O'Hearn Show right here on Generation Iron. I've learned a lot over the 4 decades of health and fitness and being in the trenches with the greatest in the world. And one of those things I've learned a lot more about and how to build better muscle is nutrition and how it has changed over the decades. And that's why I have the Titan meal plan for you guys out there that are confused about nutrition. I'm going to set you straight. Get a hold of me today. The link will be in the comments down below for you guys. Everybody, get over to the Titan meal plan, and I'll see you in the Titan crew where I will fine tune any difficulties that you're having.
Well, Michael, guess what?
You made it happen.
I made it happen.
You made it happen.
Magic is going to happen right here, right now, with Lauralie, that we've been trying to get on here for quite a bit. And finally, our schedule is actually kind of matched. So I'm so excited to have you on for the Mike O'Hearn Show on Generation Iron today. Hi.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me on. Long overdue. I haven't seen you guys in a long time. But it's crazy how just 3 hours of difference makes the whole entire day just so different, you know? But thank you for having me on.
So true. We got to really hang out with you a couple years back and spend a little quality time at the house here. It seems like it was just yesterday, but it's been actually before the lockdown.
It's been 4 years. Well, Titan was like a few months old. So yeah, it's been 4 years. He was like 6 months old, the baby Titan. He's so big right now. I do have some pictures with you and him. You were holding him and he was just this little munchkin. Yeah, I just looked at him the other day. But yeah, 4 years.
I got to say, I still remember the visit because of the fact that we were doing some videoing that day and we were working, we were doing all of our stuff. And you were over here being so helpful, like, because we were filming somebody else at the moment and you were over there, like we ate a meal and you were doing dishes and you were being so kind and cleaning up after us. And I'm like, wow, this is just a real character. Just you really showed me who you are, not just on stage, but who you are behind, the curtain, I guess you would say. The real you is a very helpful, loving person. And so I just want to say from me to you, it was great having you over and getting to know you like that.
I know.
It was just a very productive thing. It reminded me of Mona because Mona's the same way. It's like if I'm doing something, she doesn't just sit there and watch what's going on. She's usually doing something. And I just thought, wow, this is a great girl.
Yeah, you said she's a keeper.
I said that.
That day.
I said, that girl's a keeper.
Yeah, you said she's a keeper. I said, yes, she is.
Mona is a superhuman, but you guys are your hospitality was so great. And it's so great to connect on a human with a human being, and that's what I'm all about. So yeah, I'm glad. I remember the pot of rice, like that stuck into my mind, Mona, like for years. I still don't know the science behind it. The fact that you have hot rice fresh and ready to go,
Oh yeah.
it needs to be like somewhat in my household. Like once I build my house, I'm gonna have like a rice station, something like that. It needs to happen. But yeah, I have great memories from that day. Same here. So
Awesome. I'm happy to hear that. But you are competing, huh?
I think so.
We're weeks away now.
Weeks away.
Days away. I know, 20 something days.
So tell us your plan right now, your diet, your training, and then the shows, these next shows for you, if you don't mind. I know the fans, besides every guy out there listening in, you're just going, oh, beautiful and a keeper. It's
Yeah.
like incredible, but you're amazing. Your body's amazing. It's a piece of art. And you're getting ready to do a lot. The rest of this, I mean, we're in October, but you have a lot of shows coming. Talk to us. Tell us what's going on.
So, do you feel like everybody knows who I am? Like, I feel like I need to kind of introduce what I'm doing. So, I'm a bikini competitor. I'm Lauralie Chapados. I've been competing at the Olympia for this year is going to be my 6th year back to back at the Olympia, which is crazy to say. Like, I'm on the veteran side of things now, which is, exciting. But yeah, we're 22 days out from the Mr. Olympia. That's going to be in Orlando, and I'm excited. For now, that's my only plan. So I'm coming back from a 2-year season where I've done 14 shows, won like 6 of them, won the Arnold.
Well, let's do this breakdown. In 2021, second place Miss Olympia.
Yes.
In 2022, fifth place Miss Olympia. So you're not just competing, you're in it. You're right there with it. Like you said, the Arnold Classic last year, first place, New York Pro, first place, Pittsburgh Pro, first place. Can you share some trophies, please? Holy cow. And you had an incredible year in 2021. So yeah, and again, I'm gonna at the beginning of the show is gonna talk you up a storm, but please tell us more about this next step going from 2021 so close to 2022 being in the top 5. What's the focus? What did you focus on this year to step your game up and walk with the crown?
So, to be honest with you, I think what happened in 2022 was a great, great lesson for me. So, what happened is that I came too lean, too muscular, just too much overall, which, they went with a fuller look. And that's what we've been basically working on the last year to bring obviously a fuller look. But when we say fuller, it's not fatter, right? It's like fuller at the right places, obviously. So I've been working a lot on bringing that up. And we had a test run for the Arnold, right? So basically the Arnold last year was about 8 to 10 weeks after the Olympia. So once I got off stage from the Olympia with a 5th place, I got my feedbacks. We want you fuller. You've been too lean, too shredded, too stringy, too everything. I was like too much everything. But I was like, listen, this for me is way better than you didn't do enough, right? So like I know my capacities of like going above and beyond. And we actually went on stage with 8 pounds more at the Arnold. And I won. I actually, with the same competitors at the Olympia, and I won my 2nd time back-to-back Miss International title. And then from that title, I took 4 months off season, went back to a very, I want to say, like, I wanted to bring my body back to like the healthiest state it could be. So listening to my body with training wise, taking enough rest days, eat the food that I wanted to be, like spending.
And this is during the break, right? This is that
Correct.
4-month break.
Mhm.
And you went right in. what made you decide to do that? What were you feeling to go that light went off going, okay, I need to, I don't want to say pull back because you never really pull back. You're just starting a different phase.
Correct. I love that you say it like that because that's really what it was. It really was like, okay, now that you won the Arnold, you're qualified for the Olympia. So that win, was qualifying me for the Olympia. To do other shows, I contemplated doing the Pittsburgh Pro and the New York Pro. It's in May, but that would have required me to push again, going in prep for another third years back to back, which, it's taxing on the body. We're females, like the hormones, the family, like, all these things. So I was like, listen, I need those 4 months to be extremely productive. So I went straight back to eating how my body wanted, trying to feel, my hanger hormones, like everything, doing my blood work. And once the blood work was clear and good to go, 19 weeks out, I was like, why would I keep going into my off season? Let's start doing a plan. So I started my prep actually 19 weeks out for the Olympia. And now we're, 3 weeks out and I'm feeling great. And I'm very happy with the package, very excited with the package. I'm so glad I took that time it's a productive time off, obviously,
Yeah,
because
right.
I had the Olympia on my mind the second that I got off stage from the Arnold.
Yeah.
And people,
She was already getting ready.
She was already ready. But I mean, that's that
Mentally.
warrior mentality, that peaceful warrior where you're like always the push, always the drive, always wanting to compete. So I love that was in the forefront of your mind, but also the point of going, I need to be healthy.
correct.
Because what I love is you're not one of these people, and I'm old school, so I saw a lot of waiting till the competitions were completely done before the health was taken care of. And I love that I'm talking to someone that is relevant in today's world, that's a woman and very young, going, no, I'm going to be healthy while I do the process. And I think that's huge.
It's humongous. I think I've entered the sport at the right time, meaning there were no Instagram around, and the access of the information was kind of little. So I told myself the way that I entered the sport, I want to leave with the same thing, meaning the same amount of hair on my head, the normal aging situation, but the same hormonal quality, like all of these things. I want to enter the sport and leave with the same thing, plus trophies, obviously. But like, as a woman, I take longevity such at heart, and I'm so glad that even now you see the judges, they always mention that, but now they're also rewarding that, because what I brought to the Olympia in 2022 was insane. Like, it was insane, just the amount of work and digging, and it's a different level of like conditioning. So it's a fuller look, it's a healthier look. I feel so great. I feel like my mental capacities are amazing, my workouts are amazing, I feel strong at the gym. So everything that I want to promote, I'm able to do that while I'm competing. So it's the best of both worlds right now.
It's crazy to hear that 3 weeks out you're like this, because I don't meet many people. Mona is one of the few people that I've ever heard, well, dieting is like, oh, I feel great, I'm happy, everything's good, I feel
never
good.
remember myself being grouchy, or people get really sensitive emotionally once they get ready and closer to the stage. And I never had that feeling. I was always leveled, like always happy, always like, I never changed my
It's a
attitude.
rarity, though.
However,
It's nice to see somebody else like that.
yeah. Well, because she's staying healthy, and let's talk about this. I am doing blood work quite often. It's my age too. I'm closer to 50 now. And hormones are changing. I had tighten, obviously. And, I have a little bit of a hypothyroid issue since, young age. And I'm trying to keep myself really healthy. That comes first. So I do blood work very often. How often do you do blood work? And do you take it seriously, right? Do you do it before the show? You do it once a year? Like, what's your take on that?
So I normally do it Oh, by the way, I just want to say that this is in your character, Mona. Like you're a superwoman, but you're also so grateful, and you live through a lot of gratitude. I think like that's how you live. You live through gratitude. You're just grateful for everything around you, and that's what I sense from you. It's just you're
Thank
just
you.
grateful about life, and I think that's really anabolic. That's really but with
It's a
that
great
being
point, though. It's a great point, and I agree with you. You hit that one out of the park.
So for blood work for me, I try to have it about 2 to 3 weeks right after a show. And then I would have one mid prep. So let's say at 6 weeks out, when things starts to hit the fan, which is normally 7, 6 weeks out, you
Right.
start feeling a lot more tired. You've been in prep for a little bit, and you want to see, okay, is my thyroid still performing well? Is my hormones performing well for the 6 weeks to come, which is the most important part, right? So that's the frequency that I normally do them.
Awesome. I tell everybody, and we talk about blood work all the time. If you're not healthy from the inside, it doesn't really matter, how long you work out, how much, what your nutrition is, because you don't see the results that you need to see if something is wrong. And people wait to go to the doctor until something is wrong with them, which is like mind blowing. We're living in an era now where we have access to all these amazing things that we could do. So I feel like we should take advantage of it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm with you. I think investing in those things before anything else should be priority. You just want the machine that you're working with to work 100%. You don't want to
exactly.
work against it, because trust me, if you go into a prep and your body is already fighting yourself on a daily basis, you're not going to have a good time. You're not going to have a good time, and it's never worth it for a trophy, believe me. So
Such a mature point of view on this.
Right?
It just, I mean, again, I'm in this, and I've talked to so many through decades and stuff, and it always seemed to me is that health during this aspect of pushing the limits. It was only about pushing the limits. I'll take care of everything else after the fact. Also, in the fact of nothing bad can happen to you while you're young. You're going to live till 100 no matter what. And it's such a, none of that's true. You can push yourself to 100%, but you really can't get to that 100% unless the body, like you're talking about, is healthy. For those kids out there, just for anybody listening, it's not a guy thing to check your blood work. It's a everybody thing, and we're talking to somebody who's one of the best in the world, who trains, who eats, who does all these things that most of you don't at the level of this, and she still takes care of herself, making sure that the engine is running well. So this, again, the shiny car, bad engine doesn't make sense to me, and that's such a mature attitude to have in there. That's a great role model. So again, like I said earlier, like when we first met her,
Yeah.
I said, this is a keeper for, so
But
you're doing everything right.
I do have a couple of questions though for you, because
go ahead.
going back to you prep and the Olympia and all that, um, Olympia was taking place in December. Everybody knows that, okay? So in Vegas, but they changed it to Orlando, and it's in November. Has that been affected you at all mentally, that it's sooner than later, um, getting ready for it? You just kind of said, you know what, I have enough time, doesn't matter.
There's a lot of things that we can't control in life, and you need to make peace with the fact that you cannot control the date, and they choose the date, and you need to show up on the date that they set. And I'm not overthinking it. It's just a date that I need to be ready for. I'm glad that it's Orlando, because I can drive there on Monday,
Right.
which is great. And there's not going to be a lot of temperature. Listen, when I went to Vegas last year, the temperature difference, the weather, going from humid, because I'm in Miami, so
Yep.
humidity to dry, 10 pounds. I could not keep myself full. My body was just dropping and running like crazy. So now I'm in my peace little bubble, and I'm just gonna drive 3 hours up north the Monday of the show and do the Olympia on a Saturday. It's weird because I haven't done this since, oh my God, my amateur day, like having a hometown show. So it's interesting.
If you are confused about training, do not worry. That's what the Titan training plan is for. For you guys to subscribe to this plan, you also get the additional coaching from me in the Titan private group. Get in there today, and I cannot wait to start working with you and making your dreams come true. Let's get back to the show.
I stalk you on your Instagram and I see your workouts, and I feel like you change your workouts a little bit. Obviously, you do have a coach because we're so hard on ourselves. Like everybody that competes, you look, when you sit there by yourself, you look a certain way, right? But when they put you on stage with all these other people, it's like, holy crap. Like, what am I doing right or what am I doing wrong? So your workouts have not really changed much. Do you feel like you've been working out with heavier weights to achieve to get more muscle, or you working out with lighter weights and you're just keeping the pump going until you step on stage? Like, what's your training like?
That's such a deep and interesting question because I've trained with the basics stuff most part of my career for like a decade now. Basic movement pattern. But I do agree with you. The last season, I want to say I've been training more efficiently, meaning keeping it to an hour, 45 minutes to an hour, going into working set, kind of like the Dorian Yates mentality, like a little bit of like intensity workouts, like going into my working set immediately and not doing those like 5 sets with not really a challenging weight. When I had the energy, when I had the food in my body, I was like, might as well use it. So I would just go to the gym, do the movement patterns that I know works for me, but going straight into my working set and use my strength that day to go through those reps. With that being said, while preserving the bikini body, right? So bikini body is a small waist, broad shoulders, and some glutes, right? And having all that proportion. So I needed to be a little bit careful with my lower body because I tend to grow quite a lot because obviously I love to work out lower body. So we've been cutting down on lower body frequency actually. So the volume of my workouts is a little bit lower than it used to be. And the load on my spine is also a little bit less. So I would use, reverse bended on the Smith machine to just carry the weight when I'm at the bottom of the range. So that way I can drive up and just still feel more weight at the top of the movement. So I've been loving these. A lot of dumbbells, Smith machine, just to keep my core tight. I also don't use a waist trainer in a belt. So that I think have made a huge difference. And my waist has never been that small. And I've grown sufficient amount of muscle to not be too much. So my feedback from Tyler was to almost downsize my shoulders a little bit and to also keep my glutes, and not small, but proportion.
Listen, you can never have small glutes, okay? Don't even go there with me. Yeah, but talking about the bikini body, okay, I'm going to get into this real quick before you're going to say
Go for it.
So when I competed in figure, we had a certain look. I feel like now I cannot get on stage with the figure girls because they want a lot more muscle. And even the bikini girls, they put on quite a good amount of muscle. Do you feel like the body is now that they're looking for, it's different than what it was when you started competing at your pro level? Like, is it more muscle that they're looking for bikini, or are they cutting that back? Because I've seen Taylor Mannion the other day talking about one of the divisions where he said it's too much muscle. We don't want that, and I think it was wellness. They said we want way less muscle. If you come too hard, we're going to take you out of the show. You just can't do it. So what are they looking for in bikini now? Because I'm a little confused on that.
So I think, to be honest with you, Mona, I think for a very long time, they've been looking for the same thing, But the fact that Tyler had put a video out, especially
Mhm.
before the Olympia, that is the guideline. That is what they're gonna go with for the Olympia. So normally the Olympia set the standard for the year. Now they've made that video before the Olympia. So for
Right.
me as a competitor, that's very interesting because then that's it. They want a hourglass shape, not an X frame, so we can't spread our lats. We can't
Right.
overly show. It needs to be relaxed, but shape. So shape comes from obviously having enough muscle to push against the skin and having a small waist to give that illusion that you actually have more muscle than you actually carry. Because there is a lot of seasoned competitors uh, that are mistaken. A lot of girls think that, oh my god, this competitor just won. She's so big. She has so much muscle, and then they see them in person. They're 90 pounds, and they're
Yeah.
20. So I'm pretty on the larger size of the girls just because I'm little bit taller, but I need to be extra careful then because if I show
Right.
up with smaller size girls, then I really look like a giant. So keeping all that proportion, like you said, Mona, once you're by yourself, it's one thing. Once you're in the lineup, it's another thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So right now I'm in my gym by myself. You know, I think I look great. And then I do my check-in with Kim and he's like, my coach, and he's like two more pounds leaner. I'm like, Kim, I'm really small. He's like, no, you're not. I'm like, okay. So we need, a leaner look for lifestyle. It's way different than a stage lean look. Like people have been calling me skinny in the gym that I'm training at since 8 weeks out. So I'm like, you guys, I still have 10 more pounds to lose. So please tell me that.
That's a tough thing because besides the video,
Mhm.
with him talking about it, besides what happened last year, it's an amazing thing and it's such an art show. That's why I always think of the whole health and fitness competition is an art show, not a sport, because it really comes down to the day of who you're standing next to. And yes, there's criterias, but at that last moment, it's those 5 people that they like. Okay, here's my top 5. Now, what's the most appealing to you visually of those top 5s? Instead of staying right with the criterias, it always has that little bit of flavor of what the individual, the judge, kind of goes, well, this appeals to me more than this appeals to me. And that's slightly frustrating, but at the same time, it really is that art show. And it's the unfortunate part of health and fitness that it isn't just straight up the criterias. You show up that way, you win. Yeah, in a perfect world you do, but it really comes down to you guys when you're standing next to each other. Like you said, your height compared to somebody else's height might be different, and a judge might go, well, I like that more compact, shorter look than the taller. How do you
It's
deal?
tough.
And I think I already know the answer.
It's really tough.
How do you deal with that aspect of it when you're standing there and then they just flip the script on you and go first, second, third, fourth, fifth?
Honestly, the judges are doing such an amazing job. Right? Like I have seen and been at shows looking at, and I was like, how are they going to do this? Because it's hard. Like you said, a lot of girls look like Miss Olympia. Like all of them, the 52 girls that are going to show up this October are going to be phenomenal. And because they won shows, so it means that during a show, they were best fitting the criteria. And I agree with you. It's not basketball where when you hook whatever, you throw a
You
ball,
score, you score.
score, you score. It's not football. It's not soccer. It's bodybuilding. So there's obviously the criteria in mind. But if you take us top 5, top 10, one by one, we do fit the criteria. So in my mind, I see a silhouette, right? And they kind of go, okay, girl one, ding, 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 like the missile, the puzzle piece.
Yeah.
And you just, the best
Do you
one,
fit in that box? Right.
the one that fits the best. And yes, it requires a whole package, especially bikini. It's the hair, it's the beauty. Listen, the skin is a thing too. And the posing,
Oh,
the
yeah.
face, they're going like, yeah, you need to, it's a really sharp
You need a full
puzzle.
package. If you're gonna step on that stage, they're gonna look at you walk. When you walk out, you have to own that stage. They
It's
have to kind of like go, oh shoot, who's
it's
that?
my
You know?
show. Yeah, you need to walk in and be like, I'm here to grab my trophy. Thank you.
Yeah.
Is Sandy the head judge for this? Sandy Rinaldi?
Cindy Williamson and Tyler Mannion.
Oh, I went old school.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I've
Sandy
known
is
her
the
for over
judge.
3
Yeah,
decades.
yeah.
She used to, yeah.
Mhm.
She's great. Yeah, she's an incredible judge, and that's who you should have up there. With that being said, going back for a second, because you went back to that
Mhm.
intensity workout, and just for anybody
Right.
listening to what you said, she still does her warm-ups and then gets into it, but she doesn't spend all day, from what I was hearing, and also those principles, is that she doesn't spend all day doing 5 sets of 10, after your 5 sets of warm up. She's more, okay, let me warm up correctly and then get into the workout and get into that
Right.
intensity of the workout and then be done in 45 to an hour. And I also loved hearing that you're doing something just when it comes to the spine, the back, the load on your shoulders constantly, to keep a smaller waist and hips. But with the reverse bands on the squats, it's intelligent. I love that. The approach that you're doing with the lifting, I love just because not only is it going to help you during your competition years, but stimulating the nervous system like you're doing with that intensity and getting in there is going to help you, like Mona deadlifting 300 today, at 50, just playing with it. So it's like, I love the fact that you've calculated the workouts. You're more precise with those, and more, again, experience teaches all. You're into this level. How is the diet to allow you to still train at that intensity? Because I know most people, they go right to the 50 grams of carbs and they're starving as they're going.
And they eat whitefish all day long, and they smell like fish. It's
Now, I
coming
don't
out
know
of
if
their
that's you or
pores.
not, but where is, if you can talk about a little bit about your carbohydrates, your fats and proteins as of right now?
Of course, I'll dive into that. And I want to add on my training part. I have, a very intelligent boyfriend that's also a trainer. So we've been, going to certification with like Tom Purvis and RTS and all these things that have been super helpful. So when I say train, it's not even training smart, it's training efficiently and smarter. And I want to be 50 at Mona, retired from bikini bodybuilding and like deadlifting for fun, 300 pounds. Like, of course I want to. So with the diet also goes the training. So I do believe that training goes first and diet should be not the first thing. Does that make sense? I try to feed into my workouts. So I want to be efficient with my workout. I want my workouts to be muscle building, right? So the more muscle you have, the more calorie expenditure you can have. So to have less calories is never the goal for me, because I always am able to use those calories to training. With that being said, I'm a bodybuilder. It requires me to be extremely lean. So my carbs are not a lot, but I still do have them on half of my meal. I'm eating chicken in all of my meals and eggs. No fish on site. What else? Vegetables. I'm very meathead. I call it my meathead meal plan. Listen, I don't even know how many macros I'm having right now. I just know I have 40 grams of brown rice with my 4 ounces of chicken. Then my morning is oatmeal with egg whites. And then my lunch is sweet potatoes and chicken. And then chicken and avocado, chicken, and then egg whites again with avocado.
Chicken.
I
And
love it.
eggs.
So you got the fat in there, you got the carbohydrates
yeah.
in there. You're not running away from food.
No.
And again, I think you're fueling the workout and fueling and feeding the muscle, which I love, instead of starving the body and just trying to get through the workouts,
Right.
or using the workouts to burn that. I love that you're still doing that. And 3 weeks out from the biggest show in the world is props. I just, again, blow me away. This is great. And it sounds like a very healthy way to do something to the most extreme, because that's the one thing I don't think people comprehend. This is the most extreme competition. This the
Yeah.
Olympia. This is it.
This
You
is
have
the
to
top
give
of the-
everything,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you're not risking the other side of this, and you're being more precise, which makes me again think that you're doing this right, and I was right about getting you on here and talking to you today about
Oh,
this, because
yes.
it's so beneficial for everybody else out there, guys and girls, young and old, to listen to what you talked about. Again, you're winning, you're doing stuff, and you're 3 weeks out. Go for it.
No, I was just gonna say, any advice for someone that wants to get into competing? Like, what would you say if someone comes to you as a young girl and say, "Hey, I want to do bikini. What do you think?"
So I wanna say that because I've been there. I've been there doing
Mm-hmm.
700 calories,
Right.
tilapia for 5 meals a day, and 2 hours of cardio. And I thought that's what's gonna make me deserve it. The harder, the better. It needs to be
Yeah.
hard. It needs to be challenging. You do not deserve anything in bodybuilding. Don't even go there. So be smart about it. When I say don't deserve, like don't even walk on stage thinking like, oh, I went through all these things and nobody cares. Nobody cares. So be smart, stay in your own lane, get yourself some knowledge. You do need some good fats to be able to digest properly, to keep your hormones in check, especially women. You need your good fats. So I'm keeping those at minimum 25%, minimum. And I'm not, if I'm not able to have these all the way through the prep, I'm not doing the show. Like these are my limits now because I've pushed through those boundaries and I know where
Your
that
experience.
leads me. And most of the time, Mona, that led me to my worst placing in my career. Every
Isn't
time
that crazy that you work so hard and you're going in thinking that you're the hardest worker in the room and you're gonna do the best, and then it's really a disappointing placement. Which, listen, just being on stage, I'm gonna tell you right now, for anyone out there, I always I bow, because just to get there, everybody works hard.
of course.
But like you said, you have to work smart. So, have somebody that, if you don't know what you're doing, I always say, get a coach. You need a coach. You need somebody to direct you, to show you. You need another eye, to
You
kind of let you know exactly where you stand.
Okay.
But you're Canadian, right, originally?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where were you born?
French Canadian in Montreal, Canada.
Montreal, Canada. We've been there.
Yes, we
It's
have.
so
We've been everywhere.
beautiful. It was beautiful there.
I know, right? I love my city. Yeah.
Jumping back for a second, again, it's again character, which I love, is yes, that mentality of I trained harder than everybody, so I
Right.
deserve the first place. And that's how the individual feels going into shows sometimes. And I love your attitude that they don't care at the end of the day. And you have to train as hard as you can for yourself, not for the reaction of others. And I think I see a lot of that in all sports, is that I trained this hard, I deserve this. And it's like, you never deserve anything. You hope for it and you should work for it, but don't expect it. And I think that's the loss of the love of what you're doing. I trained like an absolute, and I still do. I'm mentally insane when it comes to training,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I do it because I love it.
Exactly.
And it was never the gift of what winning the universe. It was nice. I'm glad I won, but it was never, it was the training how I wanted to train, not for the respect of them. If they respected me, great. If they didn't, it's okay. And I love that your approach to that was, you've done it. Going into the show is going to, and I guess the whole point here is you're going in and just going, what happens, happens, but I've done the best I can to take care of me in life, even at this level. And I can still come out the other side and be happy about whatever happens. You can't control the judges. All you can do is control yourself and your workouts and your mind. Is that something that you you don't allow the outside world to dictate your attitude, to dictate how you should train, to dictate how you should post on social media. They want to see just my butt, so I got to always post my butt. You know, that's the stuff I get. So it's like, is that your approach? That it's, I just want to be happy doing what I want to do, and I want to share that. Does that make sense?
Yes, my God, I love everything that you said. And at the beginning of our interview, I said that I feel like I've entered the sport at the right time, and that's probably one of the reasons why. It's I love the sport, and as long as I'm happy doing it, I'm gonna keep doing it. But the day that I don't feel happy doing it anymore, I'm out. I'm out because, and you know, I love training, and that's what's keeping me in check. Because if I start not enjoying my workout anymore, like that's a little red flag for me. So I have my little like red flags, right? But I'm a competitor at heart. I love the sport, and nothing, you know, when the Olympia, when I got my 5th place, a lot of people just thought I was going to be done, right? It was because everybody was like expecting me to win the show because I had so many back-to-back wins. Like the pressure was a lot. And I don't think I've never been so happy because I understood. I was like, but I've done everything that I could, and I left no stones unturned. I gave my 100%. First of all, I gave my 100% to every show that I've ever done in my entire life, because I don't think I could even put a foot on stage knowing that I haven't done my 100%. It would be an insult to the judges. It would be an insult to the people that are coming to enjoy the sport. It would be an insult. I'm not going on stage if I haven't done my 100%. So that's my due diligence. So I know that I'm winning before even stepping on stage. And then whatever happened, it's a placing. It's a 5th place. Don't get me wrong. Like, I love my wins, but my trophies are back home in Canada because my mom takes care of them. Like, I don't look at them ever, you know, they're part of who I am, but who I am, it's like every day. Every day that I wake up, I decide to be who I am today for tomorrow, right? So I give what I have in the tank 100% with my training, 100% with my diet. And obviously, like you said, the goal is to win, but it's never going to change who I am as an essence. And for a little bit of my career, when I started, so my first Olympia, I finished 2nd place. And that's when the noise got really, really loud, right? That's when people think they know better what's better for you, what you should be doing, you should be saying, what should be wearing, who you should be dating, like the whole thing. So I went through that part as well. And now I'm coming out of it, and I'm telling you, you need to know who you are before getting into the sport, because yeah, you need to know who you are and like what you love, who your values are, what your values are, what your principles are, and always act upon them. But yeah.
I absolutely love your mental approach to everything now, to life, to competing, to your training and nutrition. I really love it because everybody does things differently. And I feel like a lot of the girls just, first of all, they listen to more than one person, which is crazy to do when you compete. You know, you have to pick your, like you say, stay in your lane. You have to pick your road, stay on there, concentrate on what you have to do, get to your goal, and then think of your next big goal that's going to come up. So one thing at a time.
I got to say something. And I said this at the beginning of the show, in full circle here. We're back to the end of the show. I said at the beginning how, and it was a metaphor, how I saw you taking care of some dishes and this stuff. And that's a metaphor that you were productive and useful while we were doing something, you know, filming that day at the house. And you can go back to the beginning of the show for everybody that's trying to figure out what I'm talking about. But I'm talking about that you were useful. Well, we were doing something else, not using you at the moment to do the filming. And I love that approach because it keeps going back right here to Arnold's new book about being useful, because then Arnold talked about when he was in the gym getting ready for a show. Somebody asked him who was filming, said, "Hey, why are you always smiling when everybody else getting ready for the same show is also grumpy and angry?" And he's like, "Because I love what I do. This is fun for me. Every rep gets me closer to my goal." You have that same approach that I see with that Arnold has, that it's like you stay useful, you stay productive, and you stay with a, like you were saying at the beginning, a gratitude of just being here and being able to do the opportunity that you have. And so it's a pleasure for me to be able to sit down with you today. And I guess 4 years later now, it's just like you continue to impress me.
Yeah. Well, I know that we're gonna get you on this podcast again, and we're gonna talk about your win at the Olympia. Yeah, you have some advantage there because it's in your town, and the weather is what you want it to be. She's so funny. She talked about the weather.
That's a great
A
point,
lot of
though.
people
This
don't
it's the
think
level,
about
the
it.
level of knowing your
Even,
sport.
it doesn't
Yeah.
even crosses your mind that humidity and dry heat,
And
like
yeah.
it doesn't, and it's such a toll on your body. It's crazy.
I know. It's funny because I always see how complex it is when I talk to my parents, but now my parents are like, "Okay, so what day are you going so you can acclimate?" I'm like, "I don't need to acclimate."
Yeah.
But it's great. I'm having such a good time, and I started the sport at 17 years old. I'm 27 now. Like, I've grown into the sport. I went up and down, up and down. Success is never a linear road, but if you're having fun doing what you're doing, don't get me wrong, prepping is not easy. It's not supposed to be easy. There's a lot of sacrifice that comes through it, but if you're grateful to be able to do those sacrifices, because damn, there's nothing more character building than that in my entire life. And now that I'm like closer to being retired and like started, right? Because I already have like 8 years down my belt. Like, now I'm doing this for eventual, like, my kid, my family. And like, that's what mommy did, and that's why mommy did it. And that's my mental shift that I had, I want to say the last 2 years, slowly but surely, kind of like growing more into Lauralie as a human being and having the bikini part of me, but not completely my identity. And feeding into being more of Lauralie have helped the bikini Lauralie tremendously. I cannot even begin. Like, so when I met my coach, he was like, "I just want you to go back to having fun." And I remember getting upset at him. I was like, "What do you mean fun? Like, I do this to win. I do this, like, you think I'm doing all the sacrifices for fun?" And now I get it. It needs to be fun. It needs to be enjoyable. It needs to be passion driven, love driven, all of these things. And yeah, I can't stop smiling because I think that was such a great interview. And I hope anyone who's watching kind of sense that towards me, like, and
Oh, yeah.
having you guys as hosts. I mean, this is great. This is so amazing. And thank you for the opportunity. I'm very happy. And I'll see you guys in a couple of days.
Yep. Yeah, a couple of weeks. We'll be there. We'll make sure to definitely get together, at least to say hi and take a picture for social media.
We'll be there cheering you on.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks so much for hanging out today.
Yeah, it's amazing to have you. We absolutely love you. You know that. And we're looking forward to see you at the Olympia, and keep being you. Keep being you. That's who you are, and people love you for that. Don't change.
Thank you. Thank you. You both too. Keep being you, because it's very precious. And to whomever is listening, you too, you keep being you. It's so important. People need to keep being themselves. It's so important.
Thank you, Lauralie.
Okay, love you guys.
Thanks.
What a great interview. We'll talk soon.
Talk soon. Bye.
Let's stay here for a second, just because blown away. Love it.
Mhm.
Love it.
She's
She's
amazing.
so
I love her.
she knows who she is. She knows really what she wants out of this.
Yeah, she knows now, but like anybody else, for people that just started getting into the game, she didn't know 7 years ago, and she went through the hardship. She learned so much.
I hope they don't take that. whatever you heard today, understand there was struggle here
Yeah.
with her going through this. There was struggle. But again, she said it, the struggle makes you. And I agree with her that it's the hardship and the tough times that set you up to be like this. And especially at such a young age, to be so mature and know who she is and understand her life, what she's doing right now. So I just props again. That is a role model in the health and fitness world. Hands down. I love it. I love everything about her.
Well, I'm glad we got her on because this was just pretty much something that we both look forward to. And I'm really looking forward to see her on stage. You know, I just love her look. Now that I understand her mentality and how she's going to step on stage, I'm really looking forward to
She reminds me of a young you.
Right?
Yeah, just a
I
savage.
had so much fun.
Yeah, I know, but I'm talking
the
in life,
beginning.
like the young you that was the savage that didn't take
Yeah.
attitude or anything like that. You knew who you were,
Yeah.
and you're doing that. And she's at this level right now, being that same kind of role model to everybody.
Right.
And for you fitness freaks out there, listen to how she's training, how she is being precise relative to. We all kind of went through the phase of, I'm going to outwork everybody and I'm just going to go in there and be a beast, to where she is now going, I'm going to be productive for what I need in my world for my body. And so the intelligence from her trainers, boyfriend, from everybody around her, she's in a good camp, a good place, that she understands that training, at the end of the day, you can only do what you can for your body. And then move from there. And she talked about nutrition. Again, we're going to put all the information down. Follow her on all social media and what she's doing. And then again, props all the way around.
Yeah. Well, guys, thank you for joining us again.
Thank you.
Amazing show.
Mike O'Hearn Show. We'll see you guys next week. And then we'll see you guys live from the Olympia. Have a great day.
Kaboom.